They thought they could take what didn't belong to them. They underestimated the man living on that farm, the man they thought was just a quiet, isolated farmer. What they didn't know, he had a past that would turn their world upside down. This wasn't a man to be trifled with, and soon, they would learn that the hard way. My name is Aaron, and I've spent most of my life living in the quiet stretches of northern Missouri. I'm 34 now, working the land my father left behind. You'd find me up before dawn, the smell of dew on the grass mixing with the earthy scent of fresh soil as I work to keep this farm going. It's hard work, but it's honest. There's something about the routine of it that brings peace. There's a rhythm to the seasons, to the growth of crops, to the way the world feels steady and grounded, even when everything else is in chaos. But, like most things in life, peace doesn't last. The cracks in the foundation began to show months ago. My cousin, Ryan, the man I trusted with this farm, started acting distant, too distant for someone I'd shared every step of this place with. We'd worked together for years, building the farm from the ground up, but things started to feel off. He wasn't showing up for work. He'd disappear without explanation, leaving me to handle everything on my own. And that was when I knew something was wrong. Ryan was always the charming one, the golden boy of the family. He could talk his way out of anything, make people believe whatever he wanted them to believe. But over time, I began to see through the cracks. I started noticing signs, small things at first, like the stacks of invoices that didn't make sense, the extra money disappearing from our accounts. It wasn't much, but I knew the difference between hard work and someone taking advantage. The betrayal came in the form of a phone call. One evening, as I worked late into the night, I heard a car pulling up to the house. Ryan stepped out, a grin on his face, his usual smile that now made me sick. "Got good news," he said, his tone laced with something I couldn't quite place. "We're selling the farm." I froze. "What are you talking about?" Ryan shrugged, the look in his eyes distant. "It's not like we were making enough to keep it going. I've been working with a group of investors. They'll give us a fair price." "Investors?" I echoed, anger rising in my chest. "This is our home, Ryan." But it wasn't just about money, it was about something deeper. Ryan had been planning this for months, draining the farm's assets, selling its soul to the highest bidder, all while I kept my head down, believing we were partners. He never thought I'd catch on, but I had. And that was when everything changed. Ryan didn't even blink when he told me he'd already signed the papers. "It's done, Aaron. I've been patient with you long enough. You've been holding onto this land like it's some kind of treasure. It's not worth anything anymore." I felt my chest tighten, but I didn't respond immediately. My hands clenched into fists at my sides, and for the first time in my life, I realized how much I hated this man I once called family. "You'll regret this," I finally said, my voice low, controlled. "Whatever," Ryan shot back, his smile never fading. "I've got bigger things to worry about than your feelings." He turned to leave, but not before I saw the smug look on his face. That was the moment I knew. I wasn't just losing a farm, I was losing my family, my trust in everyone I'd ever known, and for the first time, I understood what real betrayal felt like. What Ryan didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I wasn't just the quiet farmer they thought I was. I wasn't just someone who worked the land day in and day out. I'd been a special forces operative, trained to survive, to fight, to take down anyone who threatened everything I cared about. As soon as Ryan left, I made a decision. This wasn't going to end with me losing everything. I wouldn't let him destroy what my father had built. I started putting the pieces together, making sure I had everything in place. I didn't need a gun or a fist to take Ryan down. What I needed was precision, and that's exactly what I had. I set my plan into motion. The thugs were already on their way, convinced they could just walk in and take over. What they didn't know was that I had a score to settle, and I wasn't going down without a fight. As I waited for the thugs to arrive, Ryan's texts started flooding my phone. He was trying to backtrack, trying to fix what he thought he'd gotten away with. "Where are you?" "The buyers are getting impatient," one text read. I ignored it. Then, the calls. "Aaron, listen, we can fix this. I'll make it right, just don't." Still nothing from me. And then the knock on the door came. I could hear the thugs outside, their arrogant voices loud as they planned their takeover. I waited, keeping still, the weight of my decision pressing down on me. The door flew open, and they walked in, 5 of them, thugs with no idea who they were up against. I didn't say a word as I moved, fast and silent, like a shadow in the dark. One by one, I took them out, using the training I'd honed over years of service. It was over before they even realized what was happening. Ryan's voice cracked over the phone just as the last thug fell to the ground. "Aaron, please, don't." But it was too late. The law was on its way, and as I stood over the unconscious men, I knew Ryan's betrayal had just destroyed him. He'd lose everything, the farm, his credibility, his family, and I would walk away, knowing that I had won, not with violence, but with precision and control. Ryan's downfall was swift. The thugs he'd called in were arrested, and everything came to light. The people who had once trusted him, who had once looked up to him, saw him for what he truly was, a man driven by greed, willing to sell out his own blood for a quick buck. As for me, I stood on the farm, watching the sun set behind the rolling hills. The work was still hard, but now, it was mine. I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. I had lost a lot, but I had learned something along the way. Sometimes, the real victory is in letting go of the anger, in standing tall and moving forward when everything else is falling apart. My father's land was my legacy, and I wouldn't let anyone take that from me. I'm not the man I was before, and maybe that's the point. Sometimes, we're tested in ways we never expect, and what matters most is how we rise after the fall. What would you do if someone you trusted betrayed you? Let me know in the comments below. If you want more stories about redemption and justice, don't forget to subscribe. And remember, true strength isn't about fighting back. It's about knowing when to stand your ground and when to let the world see who you really are.